Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
And I'm going to show you. So if it is solar lamp, what is so big deal about the solar lamp? It's not a very complicated device. The basic components that are included are actually the solar panel. I'm sure all of you know, a basic kind of I would say power plant for the students. Then what you need is the basic component like the battery is designed in a manner that it can give sufficient light. The circuit, the important part of the device. You need plastic body to hold it, and then all basic switches, wires, LEDs. Once you have it, you can actually get the lamp assembled like this, and this is a beautiful and very powerful device. So it's a very simple small solar lamp, and this is designed in a manner that it can work in a multiple modes. So in a low operation mode, you press it once, it switches on. And this battery is good enough because the whole thing is very efficient. The whole thing is, it actually works for 12 to 15 hours on this intensity mode, and if you press it once more, it becomes even brighter, right? In this mode, it can work 5 to 6 hours. So if you see here, if I put on the table, this gives sufficient light and as bright as whatever you are getting from this. So that basically solves the problem. What we found out that this lamp is designed for study purpose, but it is not only used for study purpose, but it is used for anything and everything. So mother will use in the kitchen, somebody will go to the field, delivering up babies in the, when there is no power available in the night, taking bodies to the funeral, everything. So from birth to death, everything. Many times we found that people will actually put it like this, and their hands will become free. And once hands are free, you can actually do the irrigation, you can milk the cows, you can walk in, you can actually tie it up here. Mothers can actually use it and hang it anywhere they want, and then can just rotate this head wherever you want to light, right? So if you want to upside down, this way, that way. So it becomes very, very useful device, and that is how it can become very powerful. Now, the three component included, one is localize the whole solution. What does it mean? That let the local community be involved in each and every operation. Once you do the localization, what are the benefits you can get? Number one, your cost of operations will go down because you don't have to have the units and manufacturing units. Your labor will be cheaper, and the important thing is your services, repair services will be available right there. You don't have to really rely on somebody else. How each and every component can be manufactured in India as much as possible. So except two components, the battery, which nobody manufactures here, and the LED. These two components come from outside, but everything else is manufactured here. What we have also done in various projects is we have standardized the technology. Right now, if you Google and say solar lamp, you will find 200 different kinds of solar lamp. And the problem with each of those different lamp is that they will have their own design, they will have their own circuit, they will have their own battery, everything, and therefore the components are not interchangeable. As a result of that, no single device can be promoted, and even if it is supplied to some area, you will not find the spare parts. But we have standardized the whole thing. The entire technology is an open source right now. So if you go to our website, you'll find every design of the body and the circuit were open source. Some of the IDC students were actually involved in helping us to design the solar lamp. The second problem was how to make it affordable. Now, one of the way to make it affordable is to appropriate the technology for the use. So in this case, we thought it should be study purpose, and for study purpose, we need 150 lux of light, and the light required in about 45 centimeter diameter area. So any book will fit into that. Now, as soon as you do that, you will realize that your light wastage is not there. So this light is there wherever it is required, right? So it is not unnecessary wastage. So earlier solar lamp I showed you, it was 5 watt solar lamp. This LED is only just 1 watt. So in less power you can do that. Our circuit is very efficient. So that itself has resulted in a cost reduction, but still it used to cost about 500 rupees, and we figured out that 500 rupees is not affordable. So then we devised a kind of method in which we said, let the cost of the solar lamp be equally borne by student, society and the government. It's society's responsibility that every child should be educated. it is government responsibility that a child should be educated. Government by that time had given this right to education, and based on that we also said our project was a right to light project, that every child should have a guaranteed a minimum quality of light. So that was our project, and it clicked very well. The government liked it very well because we did not ask all the money from the government. Society liked it because government is part of it and they were giving, so they don't have to give all the amount. The student also could afford it. Third thing what we did is to reduce the operational cost of the whole project. What are the operational costs required? That somebody has to assemble the lamp, right? And once lamp is assembled, it has to be sold because it's not given free, so somebody has to go and sell it. Once the sell is done, and if there is a problem with the lamp, somebody has to repair it. So these are the operations involved. If your scale is not large, all these operations costs will be very high. So one thing that we realized in very beginning, that what we are going to do is we are not going to identify students by their class and category and this and that. We have decided that everybody would be a beneficiary. Everybody could actually buy the lamp in our project. And we decided that the minimum geographical area that we need to cover is a block, right? I hope you are aware. There is states and then your districts. Under the district you will have blocks. So the block level typically there will be 50 to 100 villages. So once we identify a block, every student in those 50 to 100 villages will be eligible to buy. Now as a result what happens, suddenly you have big scale. So in every block we will have 15,000 students, 20,000 students. If you go to some UP and Bihar, you will find 25, 30,000 students. So as a result of that, our operational cost of assembly, the cost of distribution or sale, and the cost of repair maintenance has come down. And what we realize that this is not only applicable to the solar lamp program, but every other solar program that you want to do would actually have the same issues. So once we standardize the technology, we started giving training to the group, and as I said, solar technology is so simple that it does not require a very high technical knowledge, and anybody actually can learn it. And we have developed a training program where not so very literate people also can actually understand, measure the circuit is working or not, measure the battery, it is charged or not, measure the panel if it is giving enough power or not, enough voltage or not, how to do the soldering, some basic screwing and all, they need to do it. All those things, operations can be done and they can make this lamp. Now when we were doing all this, one of the doubt in everybody's mind was whether this lamp will be the same quality as you buy the lamp in the market, right? Because the people from the rural area were going to do it. Therefore, we have established all kind of quality checks after the assembly, so that eventually the lamp that goes in the hands of people is a good quality lamp. So after the lamp is assembled, the next was get it distributed to the student in a rural area. Distributed means at some cost it has to be sold, right? It is not given free. So this is only the beginning of what we have started doing. So now I'll show another video that what is our overall plan. And our SOUL, SOUL, Solar Urja Lamp project has become SOULS, Solar Urja through Localization for Sustainability. So as we started doing this solar lamp project, we actually went to the bigger and bigger kind of solutions. Just have a look at this video.
नमस्कार, मेरा नाम नजरानी है। IIT बॉम्बे और राष्ट्रीय ग्रामीण आजीविका मिशन दोनों मिलके इस योजना को चला रहे हैं, जिसका नाम है 70 लाख सौर ऊर्जा लैंप योजना। यहाँ पे डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर का कार्य कर रहे हैं। अब इतना अच्छा लग रहा है, इतना मतलब आगे बढ़ने का मौका मिला। हम लोग विद्यालय में पहले तो विद्यालय के दरवाजा पे जाने से ही डर जाते थे, लेकिन अब तो डायरेक्ट विद्यालय में जाएंगे। और जो बच्चे अपने मतलब टीचर को सर मैडम बोलते हैं, वो सर मैडम हम लोग को मैडम बोलते हैं, तो कितना अच्छा लगता है। और कुछ भी ज़रूरतें होती है तो अब मांगना नहीं पड़ता है घर से। अब मम्मी बीमार रहे या पापा, तो हम लोग पैसा देते हैं कि लीजिए आप दवा करा लीजिए, तो बहुत अच्छा लगता है। और बच्चों लोग को रोशनी देना इतना अच्छा लगता है कि हाँ, वहाँ गाँव में हम लोग गए तो वहाँ गाँव में जाके देखे तो बच्चे लोग धुआं के डर से नहीं पढ़ते थे। वो माँ बाप बोलते थे नहीं बेटा मत पढ़ना, नहीं आग लग जाएगा, जल जाओगे तुम लोग। तो अब इस लैंप से बहुत फ़ायदा मिल रहा है। माँ बाप आराम से पढ़ने दे रहे हैं और बच्चे लोग को कहना नहीं पड़ता है कि जाओ पढ़ो। बच्चे लोग खुद ही उठा के पढ़ते हैं, कहते बेटा जाओ खाना खा लो, तो खाना खाना भूल जाते हैं। हम लोग गाँव में जाएंगे ना, इधर से घर जाएंगे तो कहेंगे आप कहाँ जाती हैं, तो कहते हैं कि दीदी आप तो मैडम बन गई है, हम भी बनना चाहेंगे। तो बताते हैं कि हाँ हम लोग वहाँ जाते हैं, डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर का कार्य करते हैं। तो कहते हैं हम लोग को भी करना है, तो हम बोल देते हैं कि हाँ पहले अच्छा से तुम लोग पढ़ाई लिखाई करो, और मम्मी पापा अगर शादी के लिए बोले तो विरोध करो। जब तक बढ़ेंगे नहीं, अपने पैर पे खड़ा नहीं होंगे, तब तक शादी नहीं करेंगे। इस तरह से और हम लोग को भी बहुत फ़ायदा मिला। नाम शोहरत इज्जत पैसा सब एक ही साथ मिल रहा है, तो बहुत खुश हैं हम लोग।
By now we have reached to more than 6 million students. Now how it all happened, so I only told you the conceptual level, but how it all happened will be told to you by Professor Jayendran.
Hey, I'm Jayendran. I'm a faculty in Industrial Engineering and Operations Research at IIT Bombay or IUR. Apart from working with many big industries, so this was a very interesting challenge where some of these concepts of it's also applicable in rural areas. Now, coming to this aspect of the technology intervention which Chetan talked about, pretty much what you want to do is improve the energy access by providing an appropriate type of intervention, in this particular case which happens to be a solar study lamp. But whatever intervention that we want to do, like we can have really lofty goals, but that has to be appropriately translated to operational processes and procedures and down the line, so that the entire goal and vision can actually be a success. That is pretty much similar to what is the goal of a supply chain of a very large company can be, where they are in the business of ensuring the right product reaches the right customer at the right time at the right price. That's pretty much what we want to do. But the added challenge here is the people we want to benefit are the people who are not able to afford the product at the current price point. So that makes it a little more challenging, and they are at various locations. So some of the research that we are anyway working on the related supply chain has a nice sync with this solar urja through localization sustainability initiative that we had started. So we started working on that, and I wanted to see how various aspects supply chains becomes relevant here. The objectives of this sols is pretty much what you want to do is provide high quality, affordable, clean light, that is solar lamp, to millions of school students in rural India in the fastest possible way. It is to provide one solar lamp to each student. It is not that 1 million goes to one person. We need to ensure that everybody gets it, equitable access. It should generate a sustainable employment. It should generate local capabilities. It should be able to seed the rural market for accessibility and availability of solar products in the future. And we gave ourselves a goal of saying that fastest possible way means approximately say 12 months before which all the million students must be able to get access to the solar product. It's not just a lab prototype, right? We need to produce millions. So we need to develop the vendors, we need to provide them the capability to actually manufacture it. Supply chain network has to be designed, assembly distribution centers has to be set up. It is one thing to say that we can empower local people to assemble and distribute the lamp. It's quite a different thing to actually empower thousands of people to start making the lamp at the quality level we want, right? Then production, sales, planning, scheduling, after sales service, all these things are going to come into play in the SOLS project. And all these has to be in a time bound manner, which makes it much more interesting and exciting. Unlike Apple, which can come up with new versions every few months. What we want to do is ensure this reaches as many people as possible. So broadly speaking, we had decisions like a strategic decisions, which pretty much talked about what kind of supply chain structure, the financial models that we want to work on, which is then translated into tactical decisions, which most of the time involved more short-term decisions given the current constraints to manage the delays and uncertainties. All this has to help in making the operational activities in the ground level so that the actual student gets a high quality lamp at the price that we actually want. Strategic decisions are always important because that pretty much locks in what kind of intervention, what kind of scope their entire activities can have. First, of course, the pricing of the lamp, which has to be affordable, which Chetan explained how we went ahead making it affordable. Sourcing, so we had to actually empanel a set of vendors. So this lamp has been designed by IIT Bombay and has been released in open source as an open source hardware, which means anybody can actually download the design files and manufacture this lamp. This can significantly reduce the cost of the product and can enable many small players to actually start making these products. We also involved in large scale tendering, which actually reduced the cost significantly, which can allow us to reach to more students. So one of the things that we targeted was, let us just focus on one block. So that way we can actually go deep in one location rather than spreading thin at every location. But we want to repeat it in multiple such blocks across the country. So the selection of it was also quite an interesting challenge. I can just give you an example. State of Bihar, all except 2 blocks were all eligible blocks. The eligibility criteria we kept as the percentage of households dependent on kerosene as per 2011 census and percentage of marginalized households within that block. Based on that, when we shortlisted eligible blocks, all except 2 blocks in Bihar was eligible. And the number of students enrolled there itself is about I think 10 or 12 million students are already there just in one state. So we use these multiple criteria. Then the distribution channels, we partnered with the state rural livelihood missions and their self-help groups therein and various NGOs to partner to reach the ground level. The purpose of these missions is to create local self-help groups which are independent autonomous units which are formed by community bringing together women from every household and forming a community organization who are then empowered to take decisions, do some microfinance and use it for their own training and skill development. So we partnered with them and through them we set up local assembly and distribution centers which is manned completely by the local women who run these assembly and distribution centers on their own. Now, how do you sell the lamp to the students? Since the already target population is students or the children, the expectation is they are all enrolled. So the sale of lamp was actually conducted through all the schools within the state, whether it's government school or private school, doesn't matter. So that actually is your point of dissemination so that we can ensure that actually the target audience indeed get the lamp. These things are actually really big, especially in India, because it is prone to leakages and corruption. Imagine a product which is available at 100 rupees, but the competition in the market is 500 rupees. It's almost natural for people to buy it at 100 and sell it at 200 rupees somewhere, because the desire for economic improvement is much higher than actual need for the lamp. So how do you prevent the leakages? They're empowering these local organizations and advertising well and saying that, look, everybody in this area is definitely going to get a chance to buy it. So thereby you can reduce the chances that people will actually, so even if somebody wants to sell it, others may not be able to buy it because they know that they will get their return within a short period of time. They don't need to wait years and years for that.